Hello, it is I. I have once again returned after months of absence because the allure of tier lists have once again brought me back. Um, and so I'm going to do a tier list for Plunderstorm abilities again and with the new spells and stuff. I don't really remember what I listened to all of these the first time the game mode was a thing, so I'm curious if my opinions are going to change of the old spells and stuff this time. And I have some boiling cream soda with real cane sugar to inspire me during this tier list. Damn, that's good stuff. Seriously, it's like so much better than normal soda. Anyways, let's begin. Add some parentheses to the tiers so there's at least some sort of way to differentiate them a little more. Let's start with Earthbreaker. Better than most of the AoE spells because it at least gives you CC immunity and you can move while casting it. And it's you can really trip opponents up sometimes with if they go in on you and you can and then you Earthbreaker them, they don't have a way to get out. Or of course you can combo it with a traps or something if you have anything any way to combo them. And then you can kill them before they can do a whole lot, but it still suffers from the fact that just later in the game it just gets so bad, which is pretty much the case for every AoE ability. Once people get any form of movement, it's really hard, it's way hard to make Earthbreaker work. And even in the early game, if the opponent just reacts quickly enough, they can often just walk out of it if you didn't have them stunned. So I'll put in situational. I want to put in good because I do kind of like Earthbreaker, but I think I have to put in C. I think if you moved a little quicker, if your speed was just not as slow, if you could just move a little quicker with Earthbreaker, I think it would at least be good. If you have normal speed, then it probably, I mean, I wonder, yeah, how good would Earthbreaker be if it just didn't slow you while casting it? Because it still wouldn't be S, I don't think. But yeah, I'll put in C for now. It has its uses, obviously good early game for clearing mobs and whatnot trash. Fire Swirl. I've actually kind of come around on Fire Swirl. It's probably the ability that my opinions change the most of. It's like that and one other one I can think of that where my opinion of it really changes every time. I thought it was it went from A to trash to B to now I think it's kind of potentially A again. Yeah, a lot of abilities it gets countered by stuff like Fade to Shadows, but pretty much everything gets countered by Fade to Shadows, so that's not really a valid point. Yeah, but yeah, you can if you have any way to the problem is it has a channel time at the start. That's the main problem with it. So if your opponent knows you have Fire Swirl, they'll just make sure they just be smart and save a movement ability because you can see them start channeling it and then you can run away. So if you have any instant movement thing or even just Wind Slice or whatever this is called, I forgot. You can get away from it pretty quick, but it makes up for that little bit of predictability, I guess, with just how much damage it does. It does so much damage if you actually stick on an enemy. So if you play really well with it, Fire Swirl will just melt the enemy, and especially if they don't expect it. And all you need is one Fire Swirl that they don't expect for the entire battle to be turned in your favor, and you'll probably win if they can escape at that point. So for that reason, it's tempting to put in an A, just because of how good it is early mid game. Late game, of course, when there's more movement stuff, it falls off. But because of how hard it can carry you in early game and mid game skirmishes, I think I'm going to put in an A tier actually. I actually quite like Fire Swirl. Holy Shield, decent poke tool. It's a better Arcane Sphere in most circumstances because it's easier to hit. Pretty much serves the same functions as Arcane Sphere, but easier to hit. You don't have to charge it for as long. But it doesn't really do anything particularly noteworthy beyond that. It doesn't slow the enemy. It just does a little damage. And there's a new poke tool that pretty much does what Holy Shield and Arcane Sphere do, but better in every way. And I think we all know what it is if you've played it. If you played, of course, the new Plunderstorm. So, but it's still okay. But I'm never super. I'm never gonna keep it long term. Ever. It's not. It's only good because it's decent all around. But I don't know. I think I guess I'll leave it in B tier. It's close to C tier, honestly, but it's just such a, it's the most decent spell, I think, in Plunderstorm. Like, it's not bad, but it's not good. Even though it's literally in the good tier. You know what, just for that, decent. There we go, decent. Arcane Sphere is the ability that when Plunderstorm first came out, everyone liked it, and everyone realized it's kind of bad. I'm honestly close to putting it in D tier at this point. Like, this is the ability that's fallen down the most over my the Plunderstorm I played. It used to, I think at the start I would have put it here. End of the first time of Plunderstorm, I would have put it here. Now I'm tempted to put it in D tier, genuinely. Like, I think it's bad. I think Arcane Sphere is bad. If you're, mostly because if you're finding a good player, like, or if you're pretty good at dodging, it's pretty easy to dodge Arcane Sphere. I keep looking at over here when the camera's here. It's pretty easy to dodge Arcane Sphere. Just in general. Like, there's I don't even know if I've gotten hit by it yet in the new Plunderstorm. Like, it's so hard to hit, and it doesn't do enough damage, I feel like, as much as it should, to actually hit a full one. Like, the damage isn't bad, but I think I genuinely would rather have Earthbreaker because it has more, like, applications. It feels weird to put Arcane Sphere in trash. So I'm gonna put it in C tier because it does you know, function as a good ad clearing, but it's so telegraphed. It's so insanely telegraphed, and its range is like not even that great. Like, I'm looking at the other abilities on this list, and I think I'd rather have pretty much every other ability than Arcane Sphere. I'm gonna put Arcane Sphere in trash. I think it's bad, and you pretty much never want it. That might be like an insane take, but maybe we'll revise it. We'll see. Rhyme. I'm putting A tier. I don't like using Rhyme personally because it's kind of boring, but obviously it auto locks. It's an auto lock poke tool, far range, and the thing that makes it the best of all is the fact that it's the most reliable tool or spell to interrupt healing. That alone, the fact that it just counters your heal, that alone makes it very good. Even though I hate it and it's annoying and I don't like taking it for that reason, because I just feel bad using it. It's just not satisfying to use either. It's weird. Yeah, you know, I don't like you, Rhyme, but I have to respect what you're good at, which is poking. Storm Archon. So this is seeing Storm Archon, I think, is going to make me do this. Because Storm Archon, I think, is like, you have Arcane Sphere is the lowest, like, poke tool, and then you have Holy Shield, which is like the okay one, and then you have Storm Archon, which is like a decent, good one, and then you have like Rhyme and, you know, Spoilers, you know, the really good poke tools. So it's like there's a poke tool in every tier, basically, I think. Obviously, the better you get with Storm Archon, the better the spell is. I do think it's one of the better. I like the design of the spell because of how much skill it can take with the aiming. And of course, if you actually do hit all three, it does a lot of damage. So there are situations where you can argue it's A tier, but it really depends. Like, again, this is another one I might revisit. There's a debate for like it's very good. I mean, the tiers are arbitrary, but because again, there are sometimes in Storm Archon, there are sometimes when it's like this. It depends. It's very situational as to which is better. I think I generally like to see Storm Archon more. I'm going to put it in A tier. Because again, they're both good. They're just better. They're better in different ways. Storm Archon's better for more medium actual skirmishes and actual damage. Rhyme's better for just poking. So, but I think they're both very good. So, the Holy Shield, I guess you can stay decent for now. I don't know. Searing Axe. I really like Searing Axe, and I think it's also very good. Maybe decent. Obviously, it hits very hard, and the only way you can avoid it, like, reliably is Fade to Shadows. But, again, I mean, Fade to Shadows is Fade to Shadows. It's pretty good. So unless you have a way to really quickly avoid it, it just does a lot of damage, and the telegraph isn't too long to where they have to react really quick to avoid it. So I'm going to put it in the bottom of A tier. All A tier spells are like spells you can reliably use for, you know, most of the game except this one, but this one's carried by its early game potential. Slicing Winds, S tier. It's still extremely good. it does good damage. It's really good for running away. It's really good for engaging. It's really good for stuff like lightning bulwark and repel, because if they use it, you can just face away. You can change the direction the whole time using it. It's just like it is still the spell you basically always want. Not always, but like if I see slicing winds, like I need a very good reason not to take that slicing winds. So it's mobility, it's damage, it's everything. The only downside is you have to charge it to go max distance, but it's like it's not that bad. And it's debatably slightly predictable because you're charging it. But even then, you move so fast that you can't really realistically dodge someone who's using it against you. I mean, you can, but it's not easy. Void Star I'm putting in D tier. I mean, yeah, it's good at clearing trash, but it's just, it has worse applications than Earthbreaker does, so like it's a little better at clearing trash, does more damage, but this one's better against this one has actually potential against players too. This, very rarely do you hit a Void Star. I have, and it's always fun when you do, but usually only hit Void Star and niche, like you've concocted a combo build, which is very fun. Combo builds are very fun, but they very rarely actually let you win, because they're pretty much every combo build is countered by a couple abilities. Smack Roll. I still really like Smack Roll. Just the fact that it's quick. It's a really quick, stacks poison on the enemy. I think it does it interrupt healing? I actually don't know. But like I think if I'm just trying to get a simple like I wanna win this game, these are my two offensive spells, I think. Especially in solo games. Dual games, of course, varies more. But if I'm a solo game, like you just want Smack Rolls, what you're using to do damage, sometimes wins. It's just so versatile. I mean, it's weird to call it versatile because it's just hitting directly in front of you. So that's actually not a good word to use it for it at all. It's just good, okay? It does damage, it's quick, it's reliable, it's very hard to dodge, and I like it. Traps. So I probably would have put this in D tier if not for the very fun game I had yesterday. It was literally just one game though, but I kind of want to try it more. Traps are, obviously the main problem is outside of combat, they literally do nothing. They're not good against trash, they're not good against, they don't move you or anything. But if you get a trash setup with like, a trash setup? What am I saying? If you get a certain build setup, but basically these two. Also, let's just reset the ambiance real quick. Oh wait, no, that's a wrong one. Like chains. It's a good thing these are close to each other now. The traps and chains, you can make some cool builds with that, and like you force someone into chains and then you like Earthbreaker them or something. Or in my case, I was actually utilizing this spell. Whoops. And I would chain them into my trap and then consecrate them and do big damage. And then I found 2 players with Blink and my entire build was nullified. I freaking hate Blink, but I kind of wonder, Blink? We'll get there. We'll get to Fate of Shadow. So because of its niche applications for like defensiveness and combo builds, it pretty much enables a lot of combo builds. I mean, it's mostly paired with this, but again, the problem with that is you have no mobility. You're relying entirely on this. You can't escape. So if you're in third-party stuff, you're just screwed. Which is generally the problem with like combo builds, and the fact that you have traps instead of just a movement ability is it's very, you can only really use it in certain situations, whereas a lot of others it's offensive and defensive. This is really, can't do a lot with it, but because it was fun, I'm gonna put it in C tier just because, yeah, that's it. And it can be pretty useful defensively. If someone gets on a trap unexpectedly, you can fire swirl them, unless they have a way to break the root, which the spells that break the root, spoiler, they're very good, arguably the best. Chains, I'm putting chains in B tier because, yeah, obviously if you're escaping, they are D tier, but they're so insanely good for finishing off an opponent or dragging them to you that I'm putting them in B tier. They do fall off late game, but it's kind of like Fire Swirl. Chains are very, very good in like early mid game, especially if you're engaging at proper times. It's just the fact that you actively hate that you have it when you're not like being the aggressor. So for that reason, I think I have to put in B tier, not A tier. But when chains are good, they're very good. But when they're bad, they are worthless. Windstorm. Yeah, I have to put this is definitely situational. Obviously, Windstorm can single-handedly win you fights, especially in duo games. If you use Windstorm well in duo games, it's incredible. Obviously, coordinating that's hard. Solo games, not so much, because you have to finish the cast time and then quickly follow up with it. Usually, it's better if you have like some way to stun the enemy, and then like your partner, after like you Quaking Leap them, then you Windstorm them. Like, it's good for like following up with opponents. I think yeah, as a duo spell, it has a lot of potential. But overall, I think it's very definitely situational, and you generally don't want to have it, because kind of like chains, where chains at least, you know, has the range going for it, the fact that it's a guaranteed hit and auto lock. This you have to aim. If your opponent knows you have it, it's very hard to hit it unless you're very close to them, and even if you're close to them, it's hard to hit. So for those reasons, even though the stun's very good, at the end of the day, you can just miss, and it's not mobility, so it goes in C tier. Caltrops, also C tier, maybe B tier, nah, C tier. Like, yeah, like it always, like, granted, you can change your trajectory if you're really quick about it, but you just go backwards. The Caltrops themselves are basically worthless. I don't really know what to say about these. Like, you're never really happy to have them. It's like you take Caltrops when you really want mobility and that you haven't found any of the actual good mobility spells. That's the only time you're taking Caltrops. So yeah, it's like you're settling for them. So they're meh. They're situational. Lightning Bulwark. Are they S tier or are they top of A? I don't know. The main problem with Lightning Bulwark is the better players you're fighting, you know, they can expect it, and they can maybe sometimes bait it out. Sometimes you can use it and then it not get triggered for whatever reason. So, and then it's like, okay, well, that didn't do anything. But when you have max rank, I keep looking at the OBS. When you have max rank, it has a very low cooldown for one. And it also just directly counters Rhyme. It counters Celestial Barrage, I'd say, which is very... The fact that it counters this makes it very good. I'm playing S tier still, partially for the fact that it counters poke builds. Well, it doesn't directly counter them, but it really helps against poke builds. And Searing, you can react to Searing Axe with it, you can react to Windstorm with it, you can react to most spells with a Lightning Bulwark. And the fact that it helped, you know, can directly counter and then let you go on the offensive or let you run away. Its only downside is the fact that it's useless. It's useless outside of combat, and you know it can if you screw one up, if you don't use it right, then you know it doesn't do anything, and sometimes it makes your situation worse. But I think the pros outweigh the cons so much that I'm still going to put in S tier. You're always happy to have a Lightning Bulwark. Snowfield. I really like Snowfield, even though I don't actually think it's that amazing. But I like it enough that I'm going to put in B tier, just because in melee builds and offensive builds, that slow really helps if you're just offensive, Axe, Toxic Smack Roll, Searing Winds, whatever the frick this thing is called. This one's partially biased. I just like Snowfield. Realistically, it's like a C tier. Very realistically, it's probably C tier. But because I like Snowfield and it's my tier list, I'm going to put it in B tier because I like using snow. I don't know. It's not even to balance out the tier list, by the way. I generally just like Snowfield and think its offensive applications are pretty good, but obviously, and even defensively, you're slowing the enemy near you. It just obviously it's not mobility, and if it's in the utility slot and it's not mobility, it's not going to be super high unless it's Lightning Bulwark. Fade to Shadows is, in my opinion, the best spell in the game, and it's not even close. Why is that? It directly counters. It's the only spell that basically directly counters every other spell in the game. It's like one of the only ways to get out of trap. Like the combo build I mentioned, I was playing this combo build and I was like, this is awesome. I'm like dragging them into my traps, and then I'm using this crochet and just wrecking them. And then I found 2 players with Blink, and then my entire build was nullified because of this one spell. Which is just, it made me very sad. And my opinion in the last day, especially, of Blink has gone like, I already knew it was good, but geez, I've been recording this so long. Oh, it's not done yet. It's fine. My opinion of Blink, I already knew it was good, but I got reminded. It's like, oh yeah, Blink is actually just busted. It's good mobility. The fact that it stealths you is absurd. Here's the thing: Fade to Shadow cannot make you stealth, and it would still be very good. I don't know if it'd still be S tier, but you'd still really like to have it. This fact that it stealths you too, you can use it. You can use it to, when someone doesn't see you, to go right up to them and then hit them with a searing winds or an axe. You can use it defensively. Like, its application is just so universal. And again, your enemy can't see you. Yeah, they can kind of predict it, but they don't know where you're moving. When you're stealthed, it's just, I'm always trying to find favorite shots now. Like, I would swap out a rank 4 of a lot of utility spells for like a level 1 Fate of Shadows. I think it's that busted. So yeah, Fate of Shadows. It's good. It's good. Repel is still not good. I like to joke about it and say it's great. It's not good. It's bad. I still remember. I think I remember. There's like a comment on the last time I did this saying like, nah, repel's good. You're not using it. No, it's bad. It's a bad spell. Yes, it has its uses. You can use a repel to counter stuff and push the enemy away. You know what else you can do? You could have lightning bulwarked instead of repelled and done damage and gone the offensive. This just pushes the enemy away and it slows you down. Yeah, bulwark does too, but after you trigger it, it makes you fast. You know what else this does? Jack shit in mobility. You can't engage on the enemy with this. Like, sure, you can say like, okay, you can use repel and push someone away with sequence. Congratulations. You know what else you could have done? Literally anything else. I'm not making my argument good. The point is, there's just so many. It's just not good. Okay, I'm sorry. You're bad. All right, now that whole shtick's over. Look, I did all that, and now my camera's not focusing. Come on, dude. Talking about repel actually broke my camera. This is what repel does to people. You see this? You're actually just gonna like not focus, huh? That's what you're gonna do? How does this work? There we go. Okay, well that's apparently you shouldn't talk too bad about repel because then it'll break your camera. A quick actual being real for a second here. The payoff repel gives you is not enough to warrant ever taking it. It doesn't push the enemy away enough. The silence doesn't really matter because there's silence, but you just push them away. So you can't really capitalize on the silence aside from running away more. And instead of using repel, because what it does is so defensive, it's way more. The reward isn't big enough, and what its intended purpose is just done way better by bulwark for the reasons I kind of explained earlier. Fade to Shadows, Soul Shape, Quaking Leap. There's just no reason you would want repel over those. And the fact that it slows you down to like almost a halt as well while you're using it, maybe even a complete halt. I think it's the worst spell in the game. Well, maybe not. I think that there might be a new worse spell in the game. Spoilers. But yeah, sorry repel, you suck. Quake and Leap. I really, really like Quake and Leap. And because of that, I'm going to put it in S tier. It stuns the enemy. It's an amazing engagement tool. You can still use it for mobility and running away outside of that. And the fact that it makes you go vertically upward can be very useful in certain situations. It's just such a good engagement tool. Yeah, it's predictable, but a lot of the times, even if you see the enemy doing it, you can't really dodge it if they used it, correctly. Which it also feels like one of the more jankier spells because sometimes it feels like it doesn't work the way it should. But yeah, I mean, I really like it. Soul Shape. Anyway, and yeah. Basically, if you want the now, how can there be 5 spells in the best? Here's the thing. I think these 5 spells, again, if I'm trying to win, especially in solo, these are the 5 spells I'm trying to get. I think. Well, there's actually one other one. depending on the build. But yeah, if yeah, part of it's that I just prefer melee. It's more fun. But yeah, Soul Shape. The fact that it breaks root or whatever is very good, and for that reason alone, it's going in A tier. And then just the fact that, again, it's a mobility. If you're a mobility spell, you're going in A tier unless you're Caltrops. So, okay, well I can't say that because technically there's mobility spells down here. Anyways, it breaks root. It's movement. It can be used to engage. The problem is you have to go out of Soul Shape to then do something again. I think Quake and Leap and Soul Shape are just better These are better offensively than Soul Shape is. So for that reason, Soul Shape's going A tier. So the Crusader Aura, Zealotry, Roar of Zealotry is right next to Earthbreaker. Yeah, there are situations when you can use it to do lots of damage to the enemy, but the enemy just needs to walk out of it. And unless you're running some very silly meme combo build like I was that one game where you drag them into a trap and then Crusader, very rarely is it gonna work out for you. Again, like you don't even need a movement. Any movement ability you just get at and you just walk away. But it's very good at clearing trash. And you can, like, if someone's right on you, you can bring it down and hit them. It's not like Void Star where you can bring it right on top of you and they'll still walk out. So that's why it's going like ahead of Void Star, because you can at least do some damage with it. And if you get in a really early game skirmish, you're just winning because you're not going to beat the damage output of this early. Gale Feather, or whatever it's called. This ability is cute because it has some really cool applications. You can envision a lot of circumstances where this could be good. Like, oh, okay, teammate. Chris, I want you to use the Gale Feather on that guy, push him towards me, and then I'm gonna windstorm him. Congratulations, we pulled off this hypothetical. It's amazing. What do we do now? Because two of our spells are used up by this like silly combo idea, which is never actually gonna happen. Like, you push the enemy towards you. You can keep them away. Yeah. And you can kind of stand in it, I guess. So if they can't get directly towards you. But the radius isn't really big enough for that to matter too much. I don't know. It's just, I feel like it should like do damage as well or something. Or the radius should be a little bigger. Again, there's some cool tricks you can do with this spell. It has a high skill ceiling with things you can technically are possible to do with it, but I, would rather just have something that's consistent and usable in every situation. And of course, it's not direct movement, which makes it so I don't really. This one's weird to rank. I'm putting it situational. It's not trash, even though I've literally only used it like once. I just don't really. I don't think it doesn't do enough. It has dreams where it's like, oh, I want to do it with this with called Gale Feather, but is that going to happen? Unlikely. Celestial Barrage, you are going in S tier. I don't know if it's necessarily the top of S tier. I think Fate of Shadows is the best spell. It's probably like if I'm actually ordering this, this is close enough. New best poke tool in the game by a mile. I don't know what they were thinking with this. This absolutely destroys any other ranged poke tool in the game. The range is absurd. The radius or length or whatever, width, I don't know, is also huge. The damage is insane. And if you get that really high rank at this, the cooldown isn't that bad. And on top of all that, for some godforsaken reason, it pushes you back. So it's hard to hit you. What? I don't know what they were thinking. This spell is so annoying. It does way too much damage, way more damage than it should. It's very hard to dodge because of how big it is, even if the enemy sees it, if they're actually good at aiming. Like, obviously, unless you're really far away and see it, yeah, you can dodge it, but it's very good. This spell is kind of busted. It's easily the best range spell, I think, now. Like, not even close. Void Tear. This thing is garbage. I think this is the new worst spell in the game. This is worse than Repel. What was their idea with Void Tear? I genuinely... It puts a portal down. Like a little purple portal thing. Xalatath, So like, you're What are you expecting? Like you use a port, it puts a little purple portal down, you know, and then you can cast it again to do damage. You to teleport to the portal and do damage around it, and that's all it does. But here's the thing: the damage isn't even that good, and on top of that, how are you supposed to get your opponent to just? There's no. How are you going to get your opponent to actually walk into the void tear? What are you going to tell them, like, hey, if you step in that little void portal, Zaltath's going to give you, like, feet picks? No, that's not going to... This spell is worthless. It's generally worthless. Repel at least has some things going for it. This... It's genuinely, like, basically worthless. Like, the idea, I think, is you use it before a fight or something, and then someone's gonna, like, use a spell, and you're like, aha, I have void teared before this fight, so I'm gonna teleport over there, and then your enemy's gonna see you and be like, okay, and then they're gonna fight you and actually use their utility spells to actually do something. Repel even actually has some niche applications. Even if you're fighting someone and you use this and they don't notice you use it and you teleport right on top of them, which I've done, it doesn't even do much damage. For how impossible it's going to be to hit anyone with this, why does it not do much damage? Why does this extremely easy to hit spell do insane massive damage and this does less? I'm pretty sure I tried it, like I tested it in a game, and it does less than Celestial Barrage. You're never gonna hit this. It's worthless. I don't know. Stay away. Maybe it's too early, and someone's gonna come out with some crazy use case of the spell. I don't know. And if that happens, I'm willing to be wrong. But as things currently stand, it's trash and it's bad, and I don't know how in God's name I've been ranting on Plunderstorm pelts for 32 minutes. I don't know how I managed to do this. It's been 5 months since I've recorded a video, and this is what I've come back to. Anyways, that's it. I'm pretty yeah, I think I agree with, I don't think I would change anything here. These are definitely all trash. These are definitely all situational or just okay. I do think these are all just decent. These are like the okay spells. This one you could argue to put in C tier, but sure, we'll make the, again, bias, I guess. Like, you could maybe argue Calchop should be B tier instead of Snowfield or even Windstorm. So I think these three are like kind of interchangeable between the two tiers. The A tier spells are spells you're always happy to see. They're just not, they're arguably not the best ones, you know, they're not the ones you're really seeking after. And the extra spells are where it's like, if you see any of these on the ground, you should, if your goal is to win, you should probably, you should probably take one. So, yeah, you should probably take one of the stuff in the, that's my Logitech. You should probably take one of these. And quick bonus, you thought we were done, but no, we are not. We're gonna very quickly do all whatever these are called, toys or the additional things. I don't know. Barrel's A tier. It's movement and it can interrupt healing and knocks the enemy back. It's the default thing you get, and also the best one. Maybe, I don't know if it's the best one, but it's one of the best. Oil. I actually really, really like oil. It either forces a movement ability, or if they don't have like a Fade to Shadows, they're just, you could just Fire Swirl them and destroy them. I really like getting Oil Slick whenever I see it. This is the thing that like puts circles on the ground. You usually just don't just go move away. It's not good. Sand of this thing I like so rarely see, so it's hard to rank, but it definitely has its uses. It really depends on what you're fighting, but yeah, there was a couple times when I've used this and it's done some good stuff. It lowers all your cooldowns, but it works for both players, so obviously it's more applicable for like a Storm Archon or a Celestial Barrage or Rhyme or something. You just keep using it while you're, and then they're kind of forced to come to you if they're trying to run away, or kind of, use case. Chickens are bad. This thing's fun. It lets you move around the map for a lot. Movement's good. It just doesn't, it can't really be used to interrupt an enemy like the barrel, so for that reason, barrel's better. This is like what? The fake chest, literally worthless. Snowman, it's kind of funny, so I'm going to put it in C tier. Bush is also like kind of funny, so I'm gonna put in C tier, but they're both actually just bad. The thing that lets you be immune to the storm, very, very niche cases where it can save you. But those cases where it can save you, it does save you. So for that reason, I guess I'll put it in B tier. Plus, it's kind of fun to use. This thing can potentially be used as an escape tool. That's better than anything down here. So I guess I'll put it in B tier. The parrot slows the enemy. Honestly, parrot can be very good. It can be very annoying. Just the fact that it slows the enemy is actually useful. Bike, for temporary, very good mobility across the map. Nice tab. There you go. Basically, if you want, you know, a short version, B tier and below, just don't take any of these. These are all the ones you actually care about if you see them. And yeah, there you go. That's my Plunderstorm tier list. Hopefully you enjoyed this nonsense, and I'll see you next time. Maybe, whenever that'll be. This is sponsored by Boiling Cream Soda. It isn't actually, but I wish it was, because it's some good soda. Like, I don't even like soda. But, like, this is, like, the good soda, this good stuff. This is... I mean, it's good stuff. Alright, I'm gonna click stop recording now.